So the latest polling after the RNC convention bump shows that Biden and Trump are pretty close to neck and neck. From an electoral college point of view, it's pretty close right now. Therefore, the progressive sheepdogs are losing their shit at the fact that the Bernie or bust people and the many people who are converting to that way of thinking are going to screw it up for Biden. The Bernie or bust people, for the most part, are holding firm, but the people who've been recently converted into the idea of voting for Howie Hawkins of the Green Party are a little bit wobbly. The sheepdogs can sense it, so they are throwing out everything they can to keep us in line. The true leftists abandoned the Democratic Party long ago, so they're not going to toe the line. They're not going to toe anybody's line. But the comfy, lifelong Democrats who like Bernie are another matter. So what we have is an epic battle for the hearts and minds of the comfy Democrats. This is what Christopher Helen of Do Dissidents has to say on the topic. Vote your conscience, but keep it real. A vote for Biden is a vote for Biden. As the DNC and RNC reality TV shows wrap up, an Orwellian mood fills the air. We are told from all corners that now is not the time to raise uncomfortable questions about Biden's record. Uncomfortable questions. Biden's record is shit. Let's just say that right up front. Sorry, Christopher. Right now, one thing matters, and one thing only. Voting Trump out! Everything we say, do, and think must serve that end. Now is the time for total ideological conformity. Don't step out of line. Any deviation and you may be a Russian agent. Trump is such an exceptional threat to our liberty and democratic values that anything other than a vote against Trump is simply irresponsible, if not treasonous. This hysteria is captured by a Pew Research Poll this month, which revealed that a majority, 56%, of Biden supporters are voting for him because he is not Trump. Meanwhile, his issue/policy positions ranked in fourth place at a measly 9%. Call me a heretic, but the emperor has no clothes. Do I have to be the one to point out the fact that in a democratic election, it is not possible to cast a vote against someone? This is not a matter of opinion. American elections are not up or down, yay or nay referendums. One can only cast a vote for someone. Yes, you can call your vote for Biden a vote against Trump. You can call it an order for a pepperoni pizza for all I care. Whatever you want to call it, a vote for Biden is still a vote for Biden. Why then do a majority of Biden voters claim that their vote is not a vote for Biden, but rather a vote against Trump? Various memes have been circulating online that shed light on this question. One meme aims to decouple voting from support. I don't support Biden or those who orchestrated the coup to screw Bernie before Super Tuesday, but I'll vote for him. Support would mean I agree with and approve of his policies. I absolutely don't. But politics is a dirty business, so I will use Biden to get rid of Trump and save us from the authoritarian dictatorship Trump is trying to create. And then I will stay on him like a rabid dog to support Medicare for All and other progressive programs. We outnumber his corporate owners 99-1. As Patti Smith sings, the people have the power. Well, it's time we use it. Yeah, we're just going to keep endorsing corporatists. That's the way we use our power. Bernie always said he would need millions of people fully engaged to fulfill the goals of the political revolution. Well, that's even more true with corporatists at the helm. This stuff is crazy. I will stick with Bernie, hold my nose and vote for Biden, and then cancel brunch and make sure that Biden and Harris rue the day that they ever signed up for this. On January 21st, our real work begins. You stupid, comfy assholes. All you have to do is pile into the streets right now, and you can fix it. Right now. No voting necessary. All the way through that fucking meme, I couldn't get it out of my mind whether or not they were being serious. I guess they were being serious. The meme claims that voting for Biden does not actually indicate support for Biden, but is strictly a repudiation of the exceptional evil that Trump represents. This may give solace to a voter who is uneasy about Biden's abysmal record of building the system that led to Trump, but it is an opiate, a fantasy. When you cast a vote, you cast a vote. Every vote carries the same weight, the same meaning. There is no way to add an asterisk to your vote saying that it was cast unenthusiastically. A reluctant vote for Biden is exactly the same as a vote from his most ardent supporters, whether it's John Kasich or any one of the hundreds of George W. Bush administration officials who have boarded the Biden train. Again, that's not an opinion. It's an objective fact. Those on the progressive left are being put under enormous pressure by liberals to settle and vote for Biden. Never mind the fact that his candidacy was pushed by liberals under the pretense that he was the practical candidate who would appeal to the coveted moderate Republican voter. Instead of following through on this strategy and phone banking and knocking on doors in predominantly Republican neighborhoods to get out the vote, liberals are expending enormous energy shaming leftists with apocalyptic imagery should we fail to fall in line and not vote against Trump. Yeah, we've already seen how that turns out. I heard the other day that Biden doesn't even intend to campaign in Michigan. Here we go again. Many leftists have fallen in line. No, many leftists have not fallen in line. If they're leftists, they have not fallen in line. If they're comfy Dems pretending to be leftists, then they have fallen in line. Back to Christopher. After all, voting against Trump is the will of Bernie Sanders. But is that really a responsible justification? Bernie's relationship with the Democratic Party is long and complicated, and a recent article by Joseph Brunoli reveals a paradox. Despite his status as a registered independent, Bernie is actually more dependent on the Democratic Party for his power than most of his Democratic colleagues. Bernie's main fear is being denounced as a spoiler, like Ralph Nader was, so he has gone to great lengths to demonstrate his loyalty to the party. I greatly respect Bernie. I used to greatly respect Bernie. And the way he has awakened millions of Americans to the economic injustices that define our times, but he has his own reasons for promoting Biden and claiming that Trump is the most dangerous president in American history. We are sovereign citizens with a responsibility to stand behind our decisions. Justifying one's vote with, because it is the will of Bernie and I trust him, is an abdication of one's own will and morality. Having said all of this, the question remains, what do we do? I don't know why that question is even there. If you've already pointed out that Joe Biden has an abysmal record, that should be obvious what we do. It at least should be obvious what we don't do. We don't fucking vote for Joe Biden. Christopher says, the system has only given us two choices. It's just not true. I'll stop here and make the case that George Carlin makes, that not voting is a lot more moral than voting when you can only choose between assholes. Voting for an asshole is endorsing that asshole. We don't do that. That's immoral. So it isn't just a choice between Trump and Biden. It's not an abdication to refrain from voting. It's also not an abdication to try to strengthen a third party. That's the whole problem with the Nader myth. Nader was doing what we needed to have done, and he wasn't taking votes away. Those votes never belonged to the Democrats in the first place. There are lots of people in this world who are not Democrats and not Republicans. And there are lots of Democrats and Republicans who are completely fed up with both parties. Whether the system only gives us two choices, that doesn't mean we only have two choices. Okay, Christopher, I'll finish the sentence. The system has only given us two choices, and at this point we have to take what they've given us and make a decision. No, we don't have to take what they've given us. We do have to make a decision. I will not tell you what you should do with your vote. I don't know why people keep insisting that it's bad to urge people to do the right thing with their vote, even if that means withholding their vote. It's not vote shaming. Telling the comfy Dems to take their vote for Biden and shove it up their asses is not vote shaming. It's holding people ethically and morally accountable. Yeah, let's get over this shit. Let's stop calling it vote shaming when we hold people accountable. Vote shaming is when you tell people to do the wrong thing for bad reasons. You're going to get 40 more years of neoliberalism if you keep doing what we've been doing for the last 40 years. Okay, back to Christopher. I have no desire to join the chorus of vote shaming that has been so divisive to the working class. I am merely asking you to be honest with yourself about the reality that whoever you vote for, you are voting for that person and indicating your support for what they stand for. I do not say that to shame you. If you feel shame, it's worth reflecting. Is that shame your own? Do you feel uneasy about casting your support for a party that has made it abundantly clear that it would rather empower a fascist like Trump than a progressive like Bernie? Does it make you uncomfortable knowing that the Obama administration built the cages that the Trump administration is holding kids in? Do you feel conflicted supporting Biden because it's important to have liberal Supreme Court justices when Biden played such an instrumental role in getting the ultra-conservative justices Thomas and Scalia confirmed? What does your vote really mean? When you cast your vote, what are you consenting to? Perhaps it's worth considering the possibility that the system doesn't really care if you vote for Trump or Biden. As long as you vote for either one, you are giving your consent to such a system. You are giving it legitimacy. As the Italian Marxist Antonio Gramsci argued in the early 20th century, the system's power is based less on its monopoly of violence than the consent it manufactures through its control over discourse, i.e., cultural hegemony. The system wants you to believe that the two parties are ideologically opposed. They want you to pick a side. That's how they control you. Is this democracy, or is this a hostage situation? And before you shout out, "But I'm voting green," consider how voting green is also lending your consent to the system because it bolsters the view that voting is the main arena of citizen engagement. That's a fair point. The system is even more rigged against third parties than it is against insurgent candidates like Bernie, and would never allow a third party to reach 5%. But they want you to hope that it can. And when it doesn't happen, they want you to blame fellow members of the working class for not falling in line behind their candidate. Divide and conquer. Even though I'm voting green, that's an absolutely fair point to make. As noted by Howard Zinn, civil disobedience is not the problem so much as civil obedience. So while the system pushes with all its might to get you to cast a vote against Trump as a 9 against fascism, please be honest and true to yourself. If you cast a vote for Biden as a vote against Trump or because it is the will of Bernie, are you relinquishing your will and your morality because the system is demanding that of you? Is that not the totalitarianism of civil obedience that Zinn warned us about? I don't claim to have the answer for what we, the multiracial working class, should do exactly. We can only determine that collectively, collaboratively, and from the bottom up. But before we face that question, it is necessary to sober up and dispel any illusion that we can vote our way to freedom. We can only liberate ourselves through an anti-colonial movement of resistance. And no anti-colonial movement has ever succeeded playing by the rules of the colonizers. Nelson Mandela never said, "When those in power deny you of freedom, the only path to freedom is voting for the lesser evil." He said, "When those in power deny you of freedom, the only path to freedom is power." Power is in the streets, not at the polls. And it is only in the streets that we can submit to the ruling class a referendum on their legitimacy to rule.